Aloha and welcome to Akaku Upstairs. My name is Danny Weiss. I'm the marketing manager here at Akaku, and we are very fortunate to be joined by Mr. Jerry Isdale tonight, who is from the Maui Institute of Art and Technology. So please give a hand to Jerry Isdale.
All right, Doug, let's cut to my computer. Doug, there we go, yay. Welcome, guys. It's really fun. I noticed about everybody in the room, which is really cool. This is Overcoming the AI Learning Curve. We're going to be spending the afternoon, the next hour and a half, basically getting hands-on practice with ChatGPT and a little bit with Claude. And we're going to be doing tools and prompting and so forth for business or coaching and personal applications. And we'll give a little bit of more details on things. We're going to be doing this in a talk and do style. I'm going to be giving short talks, about 5 to 15 minutes, telling you about neat things. And then you're going to have 10 to 20 minute segments to actually try those. And then we're going to be going back and forth with it. This is so you can immediately get some experience with it and people learn better by doing. I really don't particularly like the classes where you have to sit there and watch it for 45 minutes and then try and remember what they did at the beginning. So we're going to make you do things really quickly. My real quick introduction. We're going to give you a real quick intro to AI tools, a little bit of setting up your accounts if you don't have them, some quickie hands-on prompts, a little more crafting effective prompts, some advanced features, a little bit at the end on the multimedia tools. We're not going to be going into a lot of that. I'll give you some pointers on places to go and things to do for if you're looking in for those. And then we'll have a bit of Q&A at the end. This is Grommet doing basically what a chat or a large language model does these days. Most text systems these days are either LLMs, large language models, or generative pre-trained transformers or GPTs, and there's a whole lot of other flavors of things that are in there. Basically, when they're running, all the text tools are doing is predicting the next word. So like Grommet here, he's dropping the tracks down in front of him as he goes. That's what chat is actually doing behind the scenes. It's just figuring out what the next word should be based on everything that's gone before it. And, and what it's been trained to do in the past, which is part of what's come before it. The two tools we're going to talk about today, both Chat and Claude, have free and paid versions. We'll go into a little bit about it. I like Chat a little bit better because at this point it has a few more functionalities and amazing amounts of customization you can do with it. Claude has less of the functionality but has a little bit more personality. That's a little happier, friendly personality when it's responding to you. It also does a little better analysis and structured tasks, like to asking it to set up a schedule or to write some code for you. And picking which one you want to use is very much your choice. And I'll point you at some other absolutely huge lists of things that are out there for other tools towards the end. And everything is changing so rapidly. I got a text message a few minutes ago that the Anthropic, the folks with Claude, have just released a new version of their app for iOS and Android. I was like, okay, maybe I should pull that down. Setting you up, these are the two accounts we're going to have you set up on. Quick show of hands, looks like just about everybody has their own machine to work with, correct? Anybody not? All right, that makes it a lot better because then you'll be able to take these things away with you with what you've learned, and you'll still be set up to do it. Does everybody or most of you have an account with Chat or Claude? Anybody not have one? Okay.
Claude.
Okay. Claude is a little bit tricky, and Chat is also a little tricky. Chat, you can, let's go back here. Okay. When you go to set up, you can go into chatgpt.com on your web browser, or if you have the app installed on one of your machines, you can just work anonymously and start typing. You can sign up for a free account, and then it asks if you want to upgrade to Plus, which I find very useful, and you wind up having to do a real quick trade-off. $20 a month is an hour of an assistant and maybe a quarter of an hour of you doing the work. And the amount of work it saves me is days worth of work in what I've been able to do with it. So I found it very worthwhile. Claude, if you go to claude.ai, you can set up an account or log into your existing account. It will ask you for an email address and send you an email that you have to confirm. And then mine asked me for my phone number and needed to confirm my phone number. So you have to wait and do these couple of things. And if you can, set it up so you have both of them open in your browser or your app, so you can basically put the same prompts that we're going to try out into the tools and see what comes up differently. So this is going to be your first hands-on exercise. Here's a real simple prompt. Help me create a 30-minute session to improve my time management. And just write some version of that into your tool. What do you, Love?
Which of the ChatGPT, like 4.0 or?
It doesn't matter. Pick one that you're familiar with. Chat offers, if you have the Chat Plus, it offers you a bunch of different versions of their tool that you can choose to run in. I think Claude does the same thing under the hood with other stuff.
Can you have it on your phone and your computer at the same time, the same one?
I think so.
I have different chats and I can't get them.
Mine too.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm paying for it twice.
Ah,
On which one, ChatGPT?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I go back and forth.
I have issues with it syncing, because when you open it up, you can't run in the exact same chat and be dropped. It does, but it'll remember your other ones. So you open two different chats, and you can possibly do that. Otherwise, you'd have to have the business person.
The number 4, you.
Yeah, the business account that lets you have collaboration. That gets, it's another tier of things if you want to have, multiple people being able to collaborate. But try these in your tool, and if we quickly drop to you can try a variation of this. One of the things to note, if you change the punctuation, you will get a different answer. If you change your wording a little bit, the answer may come back different. That's one of the vagaries of these large language models. And also, your past usage can also affect things, so each of you may get something different. Or it may just learn from everybody that's doing them. I gave it that prompt on create me a 30-minute session, and it created this thing back here that says, hey, here's a whole introduction. It seems like it's mostly a presentation that you would give to a client, but I said, hey, well, what about if I'm doing a session for myself? And it said, hey, if you're doing a time management just for yourself, for 5 minutes, reflect on your current time management habits. Scroll. Do some auditing, and it gave me this whole, 30-minute solo session. And if we switch over and see what Claude said, they want me to do these full screen for the people. Claude said, here's a, learn the Eisenhower matrix, do some time blocking, and create action plans. Much smaller, simpler, maybe. And I want to drop back to my presentation, which is this one. There we go. So has everybody managed to get a response out of Claude or chat? Yeah. Have you looked at the two of them and seen some differences? All right. Anybody got any comments on them? All right. Now, when you're making your prompts, being specific about things makes a big difference. If you just said, adding locations and specific goals and so forth can make a much better response. For instance, if you say, create a marketing plan for a small business, period. It will give you one answer. If on the other hand, I said, okay, I want a small business on Maui doing private tours. You're specific to location and the type of business. It will give you a much more direct response for what you're looking for. If you are doing things and you're working with some external inputs, for instance, you have a website, maybe it's another tour site. I like doing this with the grants and so forth and other projects that I've been working to get. You go to the grant site, take their URL for their request for proposal, give it to chat, and say, hey, I want to make a response to this proposal, and I want to do this, this, and this for it. Can you help me write a response? And it will go ahead and say, hey, yeah, sure. Here's some work for you. See if I can bring one of those up. Well, this is a more interesting one when you're using URLs. I was given a list of, this list of climate action resilience plans. There's a whole bunch of them here from all around the world. Nairobi, Freetown, Seoul, Kuala Lumpur, a bunch of cities, Athens, I saw a few other cities in there. All these different URLs, links to documents. And I said, hey, here's a whole bunch of them, and give me some summaries. And it went through and summarized a few. And then I said, okay, give me a little more detail about Miami's. And it told me a little bit more about what Miami did. This response came back in seconds after I did it. The next thing I did is I said, hey, here's the Maui Climate Action Resiliency Plan. Compare this and make some suggestions about what Maui should do. This was something that Josh Cooper at the county had asked me if I could help him with this. And I've been helping him with the carp issues in the past. I just did this. I mean, I was shocked how fast it came back with a response. And the first thing it says, hey, the Maui Resiliency Plan says absolutely nothing about renewable energy. So, maybe you want to include that, and I think some experience from last year tells us we need to do that, and it had a whole bunch of other things that it says we should do, and it said, like detailed milestones. Our CARP didn't have those, so it said, hey, you need to put them in there. So these are things that we will go over and work through with them. And we'll jump back over here to our talk.
Jerry, do you think that under the hood it had a good understanding of those other documents because you asked it to evaluate them first, and so it was using how many tokens it's got set aside for that to do that evaluation, or does it know to go deeper? Does it like give it?
It initially would know based on what it had ever been trained on about what a CARP is. And actually it's pretty interesting without giving it anything else. It does come up with the right idea. But giving it those URLs does some pre-training. It will go out there, ingest those documents, scan through them, and those make up part of what it uses to respond to us.
Can you show us how we can bring a document into it?
I will.
Okay, great.
This is just for the URLs. Claude doesn't have web access, so you can't give it URLs. I gave it a URL, a web address.
Okay.
Actually, I gave it a whole bunch of them, and it went out there and individually pulled them in. Now, here's some more specific prompts. And I'm going to hand these out. These are a bunch of prompts. I asked Chat to come up with a whole bunch of prompts for business coaching and life coaching. And these are what it came back with. Read through and pick one that comes up with some ideas for you. And this is a couple of other possibilities. Try some of these in Chat and then try them in Claude and see what happens. Go ahead and pick one quick so you can type it in. You get to take this paper home with you so you can try all sorts of others and variations on them. Riffing on your prompts is a really good thing to do. Write it, rewrite it. And then you can add other things to it, like, hey, write this at the 3rd grade reading level. And it will revise it and give it back to you at the 3rd grade reading level. For instance, This happens to be the chat that I had for designing this workshop that has that list of prompts in it. So I'm asking it to pick one of those prompts and do a 200-word seminar response at the 6th grade level. Okay. And I said, for a 6th grader, explain time management. And there's a real quickie thing on it. So here's time management in iambic pentameter. To manage time, you must first make a plan and list the things that you must do each day. Decide which tasks are most important now and start with those so you don't feel dismayed. It's quite simple to tell it to reformat your responses for something different. Now you can do this at the beginning of a chat session and tell it, for all the stuff I'm doing, write it in iambic pentameter, or retry as if C.S. Lewis wrote it. My dear young friend, time is much like a river, always flowing, never stopping for anyone. And yet, though we cannot halt its progress, we may learn to steer our little boat wisely upon it. They can do pretty well. Did you guys get a copy of are there any more of the...
Well, James Joyce, did you share?
Oh, yeah, hey, try it, James Joyce.
Sagan's Way? I tried it with Dr. Seuss, that's the only one I can understand.
I went for Harvey Thompson.
I tried it with Harvard.
That's a drug doctor.
Wrong doctors.
And then you have to go down here and click on the bottom arrow there. Now, a couple of things on the chat interface. You can have it read it to you by clicking the speaker icon. If you click this icon here, the 2 pages, it will copy it to your clipboard, and then you can paste it into another document. Tell you more about that. You can use the up or down on thumbs to say, hey, I like it, I didn't like it, and it can do it again. I'll go, oh, and then this little clippy thing here, the little paper clip that's at the bottom right next to the prompt, that's where you click and say, hey, I want to add something to this. So if I click attach a file, you can attach a file that happens to be on your Google Drive, or you can upload from your local computer. For instance, if I start a new chat, and I give it, ask it to upload, go to my desktop, my resumes. There's my short bio. I've handed the PDF of a real quick short bio, and it comes back with this little bit. And good Lord, it knows the 4 classes I taught. I don't know how it did that.
It extracted it from that document you uploaded, or like where did it come from?
That's a good question.
It's watching.
It knows you.
Listed online? Like with
They're listed online, but I don't know where they would have gotten that. That's pretty interesting.
That's a good question. Can you ask it for where it got its info from?
Sometimes it may not be. Let's see. It knew about all of them. This is one of the neat things you can do. You can just start asking chat questions and it will give you more responses.
Prior conversation.
you guys talked about it.
Okay, so it knows that back in September I talked about it.
But Lorraine thought that it's saying 2023.
Yeah, I did say.
Yeah, summer 2023 teaching. So this is one of the lessons that I want you to take away. Chat can be wrong. Chat can be very wrong. It is especially wrong when you ask it to come up with numbers for things. If you ask it to create your grant response, the numbers that it may come up with for hours it will take to do something, or the cost of labor or the cost of products may be wildly wrong unless you have given it the information beforehand. If you have pre-trained it and said, hey, here's some previous responses that I've done, and you feed it with some of those, just like I did there, it will remember those and use those numbers for its next calculations.
What's it called?
Yeah, where was that?
If, let's say, so I was thinking about this the other day, I haven't tried it yet. Let's say there was like a diagnostic problem with the machine, and sure, I could go test it easily, I could come up with my way to test it. Would it provide me with, can I tell it to search the web for other tests?
Give me a machine.
An excavator, for example. Terex TC75, let's keep it legit.
Oh,
TC75,
TC
yeah.
75.
75. Starting, or, yeah, well, how can I word this so it makes sense? Ask it if it can come up with a test sequence for a start circuit. Let's keep it simple.
Aside from that, if you have like the manual for the product, you can import that into it so that it can also use that.
Gotcha, but is it smart enough to?
There you go.
Okay.
Now, this may not be correct for your machine.
Yeah, totally. I was telling Mary when we started this thing today, like I got into a fight with the thing last year over this other thing I was trying to use it for, and it's wildly wrong when it comes to math.
Right.
Like insanely wrong.
The trick is to feed it data that you know is right.
Yeah, that's how I got to come.
Find a document that says it right and give it to that, and it will come back with better things for you. Documents and several others that will be
social
fun.
media prompt.
No,
Just
this
so you
is
know,
one
I will
that's
be
for a
making
social media
these
prompt.
slides fully available to you
Help
guys.
me create a social. Help me create a social media prompt for promoting my business workshop on Maui, or make it more specific. For my private tour business on Maui, and see what it comes up with, and add a little more to it. That describe what your tour company does, and see what it comes back with. Advanced features, because we're moving along here. I want to make sure we cover as many things as we can. Token limits. There is a limit to how much any of these models will remember. It may be huge, but a token is the number of words and the number of characters that are in everything you've told it up to now. And that includes things that you may not have told it yourself. As you saw, chat remembered my conversation from September. That's in its token numbers. And if you start doing this in a long session after a while, it may start getting things more wrong. So what you do is go and say, copy, use that copy button to copy the last response that you liked, and paste it back in and say, hey, let's continue with my marketing plan based on this initial outline, and let's continue it for doing weeks 3 and 4 because it wasn't enough, or expound on it. Document uploading. You can either start a new conversation, or you can, in that same conversation, because it still has other information. But if you post things back to it as most recent, it will say, oh, okay, going back to this, it refreshes its memory. It's like many of us, things fall off after a little while and we don't quite remember what we were talking about at the beginning. Document uploading and summarizing. Here's my business plan. Can you summarize some key opportunities for growth for me? Or here's my current resume. Review and suggest updates, and by the way, here's some recent accomplishments, like I taught those 4 classes this summer, 5 now. And with Claude, you have to copy the documents and paste them in. As you saw with Google, with our ChatGPT, you can just say, hey, this document over here on my Google Drive, just go there. You have to have it, give it access to your Google Drive, and this is something that only works in ChatGPT Plus. So you have to have the $20 a month or $25 a month paid subscription. Again, $25 a month for what it saves me in headache and time. It works great for me. Yeah, I did that with one file in Claude, in Chat, and it's pretty simple. If you guys have a document that you know on your phone or your somewhere on your disk drive, grab it. Click on that little button in Chat. It doesn't accept all formats. It likes PDFs. It likes text files. It may or may not like Word documents. It does not like open office documents.
Microsoft funded, so it might.
Right.
Microsoft document.
Claude is Microsoft?
No, ChatGPT.
Where do those documents like go? Does it become part of the?
It becomes part of the AI.
So like if it's like a legal document, you're like, I need a, summary of it.
I wonder if you can ask it to be confidential.
We'll get to that in a moment. Confidentiality and privacy, if you're using a commercial tool, you don't have it. It will learn from your document, and sure, there are custom tools that are out there that they say don't learn. And there are companies that have set up their own private servers that you can go to, and it will bring it, and it will use their private server, and you may have a fair bit of confidentiality.
In the case of the PDF document, it is proprietary to a company. So if I upload it to try to extrapolate the information more quickly, am I in violation of any copyright laws, or is it going to flag you for a copyright law? Because technically it's not yours.
It won't necessarily flag you for a copyright infringement.
Okay.
If you pulled that thing down from the web,
Yeah.
it's out there on the web.
Okay.
It's at this point in our society, this is a problem that we haven't really addressed or figured out.
You have to pay for that document, and then it's.
If you paid for the document, that's another story. There's
All right, let's see if that shows up.
you could upload it, and whether or not they would ever figure out that you're the one who leaked it, don't know. Probably not. But it might get there to somebody else. Here's the next topic we were just on. Ethics in AI tools. The AI tools have been trained on what the team collected and gave it to train. They may have used things that were open licensed, that have a free license or unrestricted license. Or they may have gone off and scraped the web for what's out there. Currently, there are tremendous amounts of things that are out there on the web. There are whole books that are on the web that are accessible to these scraping tools. And there are a bunch of lawsuits going on against companies whose AI has regurgitated passages from these books by the authors that said, hey, you didn't have access to my book. This is a copyright battle which is currently being fought. Yes?
Do you have any idea any tools we can use or websites or whatever that can evaluate whether something is already out there and copyrighted or not? I mean,
I don't have one, but I will tell you about a webinar tomorrow morning that a friend of ours, Ivo Henning, is doing. That's all about ethics and AI and for image or text. The commercial tools that are out there may have learned by scraping the web, and whatever you type into them and upload to them, they're basically learning from you. If you give them images, if you're using Midjourney or one of these other image generating tools, the images that it creates, it remembers, and it remembers the prompt that you gave it. And it will use that for its own internal purposes. There's not much way you can do it. There are open source and licensed tools out there. There's a website called huggingface.co. This is a fantastic site that has thousands of open source curated tools. Some of these tools you can actually run on your own computer instead of having it run out on the web.
Do you feel right now, since it's so easy to literally, like if you create an image, be able, or if you see something somewhere, you can literally just feed that image to AI and regenerate something utilizing that, and that's a similar output. Do you feel that there is actually any way that we can copyright anything right now, just because all these tools are out there and it makes it so hard to chase them down, and then basically you're just feeding the legal system if you try and battle it, which is probably, since you can regenerate something so rapidly, not cost effective to even try and buck up against. Yeah.
That's part of the quandary that's out there. Right now, you have your own ethics. Live Pono. Do what's right. Live what's right. Don't take copyright images, some artists that you like. Don't take Kudra Clover's artwork and put it up on the web and say, hey, make me a bunch of things in this style. No, that's not kosher. Don't be doing those things.
Unless they're dead.
Right, unless they're dead. And even then, Disney gets upset about that.
There's, what was suggested by an attorney to me on that is not to do just one artist, but what they're doing is sourcing that person to bring dead people, so that it actually is merging it, and it's not just one, it's giving an influence and referencing
Yeah.
several.
Like, I wouldn't have a problem stealing from Rembrandt.
Right. But you may have a problem stealing from one of our local artists.
Right.
This mythical Kudra Clover. Before, there are tools that you can get off of Hugging Face and other places that you can bring down to your own machine, especially if you have an NVIDIA graphics card in your machine, a more recent one, the better. And you can run it on your local machine. I've done this with a couple of things on both this little laptop and my bigger desktop machine. And you can run diffusion models, and you can add all sorts of training sets in them. This is where people get around limitations of the commercial models. This is where people say, hey, I want some pictures of, make me pictures using Donald Trump's face. And it will, you feed it a bunch of Donald Trump's face, it's on, if you try that on any of the public machines, it will say, I'm sorry, I can't use a real person who's living, I can't use their stuff. But if you're running it on your own private server, your own code, it can say, yeah, sure, I can do that. I can take my ex's face and create a video of her.
So can you explain what the difference between a private and public server is?
This is a private server. It's running on my own machine. Or I may have one that I'm buying time on the cloud. There it gets a little more iffy. Is it really a private server? Because there are ways that things might leak depending on what you're running and everything else. On my machines, I can disconnect my machine from the web, and I can run the servers and run the tools, and it will still work just as fine.
I don't think Mid-Journey works that. Are you talking like Stable Diffusion?
Yes, I can run Mid-Journey is a commercial tool. There are other tools like Stable Diffusion or Stream Diffusion and other ones that'll do at least the same thing, if not better. And if you feed it some of these, the ones from Hugging Face, you can get a whole lot more. Now, I said I wasn't going to talk much about the multimedia systems and so forth. There are a plethora of AI tools out there in all sorts of domains. Text-to-speech, so it will read you a paper, read you articles. You can actually have it, give it a paper and have it create a video that explains it to you. And it will create video images based on what the paper is. I saw a recent one. There's a really cool YouTube channel called 2 Minute Papers. 2 Minute Papers, for a number of years, has been taking recent image generation tools. Guy who does it is all in the computer-generated imagery. And he's been going along and saying, hey, here's some neat new papers that came out, and within 2 minutes he explains and shows some video of what it means and what it does. He just did one the other day that said, I may be out of a job because I can now take a paper, feed it to this tool, and it will create a 2-minute video in my style. And I can train it with my voice. You can use the image creation tools. DALL-E, which is built into ChatGPT, and I'm not sure if the free version lets you create images or not, but the paid version lets you create images. If you go to Future Tools, sorry, that should be Future Tools, oops. It's futuretools.ai. Yeah, I changed it on this one. These are a bunch of interesting resources to go to. Creator Pro AI is a company that I started following a while ago. I signed up with his full-on service when he had a lifetime access at a discount. But he's got a free site on it now. A lot of it is marketing for his other ones, but he does here at this Creator Pro. And so you don't have to write down these links. The dead tree version.
What if it was recycled?
There's still dead trees. If you go to this site or just go to creatorpro.ai, you'll drop in at the top and he'll lead you along to a variety of his videos and digging into things. He's one of the people who has been customizing ChatGPT tremendously. I have him somewhere. No, oh, yes, that's that one, that's that one. Where did I have these pages of things? This one. This is Creator Pro. You can go in here, you can sign up. They do generally say, give me an email. You get the email from them that connects you back in, and you give them the code. He has a tremendous number of tools that are out there. Okay, this is my paid version. These are a bunch of tools that he has. when you have a list of, what he has done with these is he has trained chat in these particular things. So an executive leadership coach. Varying amount of time it takes you through, and you can open it in the AI and learn what it's doing. I used a couple of these for product development. The implementation, a product roadmap, your finance strategy, your startup positioning. All these different tools are chat tools that he has created that will lead you through a process. Chat has what are called directives and instructions that you can put into a document that you feed to chat, and it will then be able to lead you through that process of what an executive coach might work you through, or how to create a business plan. A cold call emailer, a funnel marketing, branding and marketing, a brand marketer, it walks you through things. Logo creator. Less than 10 minutes. If I fire that up, it goes into here and I say, start, it wants me to log in and everything else. Doesn't quite remember all that. So it has a lot of these functionalities in it. He has,
That's the Creator Pro?
that's the Creator Pro site. The other one I mentioned, if I go back to here and bounce it to slideshow, this quickie one, realitycraft.art is a friend of ours, Ivo Henning, who I've known for a couple decades in the animation world. She has realitycraft.art. You can see what her art is like, her YouTube channel, and she has a really cool set of things coming up on maven.com. If I can, let's see. Nope, oops, wouldn't want to do that one, oh well. This is one that's coming up starting tomorrow, 9 o'clock our time. This is on Maven, it's RealityCraft Ethical Design Choices with XR Guild. XR Guild is extended reality, bunch of collaborators talking about it. The ethical principles to be using, who and when to engage. It's going to be, these Maven signups are generally, they're a lightning lesson. They're 15 to 20 minutes long, basically. Maven has a bunch of them. They tend to be ones that'll get you, give you a introduction and try and upsell you to take their class. This is on Evo's YouTube channel. So this is on her YouTube. This is also in Maven. And this is choosing your tools, how to get started with free and open AI tools. Phenomenal bunch of stuff she goes through in there. And I went and tossed it into a thing called noteapp.ai, which will, given a YouTube, will give you summaries and notes and let you chat about what was in there. But here she goes, and here's the basic summary. And if I want, I can tell it to generate a mind map. See if it actually gets through. Oop. So I don't know folks know about what a mind map is, but it basically takes and creates little boxes that is a little segment of information, and you can break it down into deeper topics. Highly recommend listening to this if you're interested in the different AI tools for multimedia.
What tool made the mind map?
Pardon?
Which tool made the mind map?
That was made by Note app, which is a plugin for Chrome, and it's also a website.
Jerry,
Yeah.
can I put a plug in for Evo and a couple things?
Yeah.
Okay, if you go to YouTube, you'll see that she has some different videos on things like crafting. She also is extremely approachable. I highly recommend any kind of interactive if she wants any courses. She's pretty much an international player and is highly respected in what she does. She's a real good window into it. She's very capable of being able to share with kind of layman language, and she can pretty much bridge from, top tier to layman, just beautifully, just elegantly. So she's a super, super cool lady.
Yeah. This is
Evo Haney.
Evo Henning,
And reality
Heyning.
So if you go to Reality Craft Art on YouTube, you'll see a whole bunch of videos. And just kind of, she's also on Facebook.
Yeah.
She has various groups, she has various classes that come up every now and then. She works kind of multi-platform, so it's like if you're interested in anything from movie generation. She's right now very much into content creation for movies, sound, and just image generation, like with Midjourney or whatever, but she's.
And she's also flew off to Asheville to help family over there. I don't know if she's back yet or not. But in her video on free and open tools, she talks about the site futuretools.ai. This is a huge site that has thousands of tools in it that you can go through and click through to the type of tools you're looking for. You can look at all sorts of different details on them. This one here is Matt's tools, and he has all sorts of specialties in there. That link is on in there on Future Tools. Then there is, this is part of what's in Hugging Face, somewhere here. Yeah, I guess this is Hugging Face. Yeah. And all right. Another great place for a lot of tools if you're looking for all sorts of both the text and the, come back here. Your text and others, and all the other multimedias. All right, so you've seen that one. I want to encourage you to explore the AIs. The best way to do that is ask Chat. If you want to find out more details on how to craft your own GPT, ask Chat. Say, hey Chat, how do I create my own GPT? And it will walk you through the process of creating your own specialized GPT.
Do you make use of the personalization feature that's in the settings for ChatGPT, and do you have like a go-to setting that you like to always have, or change out that script?
I had a couple. My biggest one, the biggest problem I had was, if I go back over to Chat somewhere, where's Chat? There we go. Oop. I want that window. And this one here. If you go to Chat and you say, hey, I want to copy what it did here, and then I go over and I bring up my fancy text editor and I drop the stuff in there. It doesn't look the same. This is using, because Chat uses a formatting tool called Markdown. So it sticks in these things that are, hash, 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 which means it's a third level heading, and then star, star, which means it's bold. It doesn't look right. You have to go through and edit it yourself. There are other tools, on the other hand. This is one called Typora. Oops, come here, Typora, come back here. And if I drop the same stuff into Typora, Typora works in Markdown, so I can look at it and see it in there. What I've also found is if you just take the file and save it as a text file on your computer, upload it to Google Drive automatically turns it into a Google Doc file. And it will be, at that point, it will be formatted as a Google Doc file.
I found this on the web for Google Drive.
There you go.
Love it.
Yeah, it found all sorts of stuff on the web. For instance, if I, nope, not my calendar. I don't want my calendar. You guys don't need to see my calendar.
What are you up to?
I was trying to find, I had one of these windows here had my, there it is. This is where I was building the chat workshop. And you can see where I had, I'd gone through, this is older ones, I'd uploaded files to it. And this is, like one of the ones that Chat gave me and said, hey, let's do a 2-hour thing. We're not doing a 2-hour, well, we kind of are. What time are we supposed to run till? 7:30. Oh, good. So, I gave Chat a real simple prompt to talk about a workshop that was going to be 2 hours long, introducing people to Chat, and it gave me an initial bit. And then I dropped this into Typora, saved it as a file, uploaded it to my Google Drive. Ta-da! It's a Google Doc. And then you can bring it down whatever way you like.
Have you
Lori, would you mind just speaking into this for the audio?
Sure. Jerry, do you think you could, I don't know.
No, it's just going for the recording.
Oh, okay. Do you think you could explain some of the GPTs?
Yes, as some of the ones that are pre-built. Yeah, I'll show that in a moment. I just want to do one little thing here. Let's see. Where was he? This picture here. This is the one picture we used in the flyer. I asked Chat and DALL-E to create me an image for it. Now, it took about 4 or 5 tries to create this image because, I had to tell it that I want it in Hawaii and I want a diverse crowd and I want them working on their laptops. It did a pretty good job, but if you look at the text that's in there, the text is actually really bad. It's not a good font, the words are not spelled right, it looks weird. DALL-E is horrible at creating text. Evo in that creator choosing your tools video talks about this and talks about several tools that are really good at creating images with text in them. So it's a 15-minute video that's really worthwhile watching. That's this one here, the Maven Reality Craft creators.
He's good at text. He's good at text.
No, Maven is where the short video is that Evo did.
Oh.
That has this 15-minute video. In there, it talks about some of the text tools. I'd also note, if you want to get really deep into things, alphasignal.ai will tell you all the latest news daily that's happening in the AI world. Generally, you probably don't want to know that. But For those geeks that like to get into this details on it, alphasignal.ai. Now, let's see, a couple of other things. Oh, well, here, whoops.
Have you worked with Meta on Facebook much?
I haven't used it there, not on Facebook. I haven't used their tools. They have some amazing ones. There's a bunch out there. I've worked with several, and the image generator tools in Meta are, I just saw a recent one, survey, somebody did a chat, or DALL-E, Gemini, and Meta, and asked them, gave them the same, all three of them the same prompts. And Meta was pretty much the winner for best images. This is where you can find me and contact me for those of you that don't have my information. You can find me on Facebook or on LinkedIn. You can find me the third Monday of every month at Maui Brew in the evening, where I have the Maui Techies.
But late in the evening, not so good.
I've been a little late for the last month because I was teaching one of those classes.
How about the drinking?
Oh, the drinking part? Yeah. We get between 5 and 30 people that show up. We're out on their outside balcony off to the left as you walk out. We've got one coming up this coming Monday. Starts about 5 and runs until whenever. I've been thrown out of there a few times at 10 o'clock. Actually, I think the latest I was thrown out was about 10:15. They're putting up all the chairs and they're going, dude. And it's like 5 of us that are still having a grand conversation. This is my email for the business side of the world. That's Jerry at miot.com. Miot is the Maui Institute of Art and Technology. Lorraine is the art. I'm the technology. She designed the logo. Now we'll go for some Q&A. We had one question was asked, could we, just save that one. I don't know where it's going to save it, but fine. I'll find it one of these days and it'll be, what the heck was that? Here we go, Chat and Claude. I don't want that actually because that's the wrong tool. If I go back over here and I go into Chat, Chat has a bunch of things over here on the side. You can say, down this side, in this sidebar over here, these are all the different chats that I've done. It remembers all of them and it can bring them all back up to a point. I don't know how far back it goes. The ones up here, these are GPTs that have been crafted by myself or other people. There's one that's Ask the Code. You can feed it a bunch of code and it will answer questions about your software. Workshop Architect is one that I used for creating this workshop. That came from Creator Pro. There's one that's a video script writer. You want to write video scripts? So we'll walk you through how to do it. Explore GPTs. Make this one big. This is where you can find all sorts of GPTs that are out there that people have trained by feeding it documents with directives and instructions, and they'll tell you how to do things like, okay, how to use Canva and building Canva, a GPT specialized in generating and refining images, okay? Write for me, data analysts. You can scroll through these and find a AI that will, write me anything. Okay, let's start this one. Anybody that understands quantum mechanics is a liar. but there it goes. It'll tell you all about quantum mechanics.
Where did you get this list of, like, was it the workshop or which one?
This one here, Explore GPTs.
Okay.
That's on everybody's
ChatGPT.
ChatGPT Pro,
Okay. Oh, the pro.
the Pro version.
For that.
You got it?
Okay. $20.
20?
It's on mine, I'm not paying. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
You wrote a program, it's fine.
Is there a way to fact check, like hallucinations, say, like how do we know?
How to fact check?
Know that this generator's response is factual?
Well, there are tools out there.
Fact check. Is that possible?
Let's ask Chat. If it gives you, then it says, you go back and look at things, fact check. Are there tools that can analyze
The O is the 4.0, or I'm sorry, 4.0 model does do fact checking in and of itself, and that's why it's a longer process. It will actually tell you that it's thinking. Sometimes it'll think for like 30 seconds.
Here I asked it, are there tools to analyze the text or image and decide if it's AI generated? And so here's a list of tools that you can use for various models which are trained to detect AI generated on Hugging Face. Sensity.ai, Deepware Scanner, deepfake detectors. Yeah, and this is the sort of thing that I want to encourage you guys to do. You have a question about something and how it works or whatever, type it into chat. See what happens.
Yeah.
Yes?
I'm just curious, do you foresee having any kind of like an AI lab for people to get together and just kind of explore these different things, or introducing it? And I think a lot of people would love to just kind of, sink their teeth in and also have community support of some form.
Yeah, I would love to have a group of people that are interested in any of these particular topics that would love to get together at some venue, preferably one that has Wi-Fi, good solid Wi-Fi.
Is there a preferred way you maybe talk to your alien brain, like encrypted, through something like Signal or Telegram?
Is there a way to talk to a chat through?
Well, if like I'm not trying to have eyes on whatever I'm trying to do, whatever I'm trying to ask my computer, is there a place that I can go to ask those things?
That's a good question. I mean, if you're talking to one of these AIs or search engines, it's really hard to avoid it. DuckDuckGo is a browser that does not track and disables tracking. So when you bring up stuff, some websites may not work right because they absolutely insist that you agree to be tracked. But DuckDuckGo is a good way to avoid that stuff. Whether it encrypts things, and if you're sitting at Starbucks, there's a fair chance that the guy with the Wi-Fi scanner is going to be able to see what you're sending. It's quite a lot of fun to toss ideas at it, like write a movie script about AI hallucinations, and so here's a script.
But you gave it permission to hallucinate.
I told it, go ahead, let's do some hallucinations. You're erasing reality. You're replacing facts with fantasies. It sounds like politics to me, but yeah. And there are, you can tell it to. There are tools. If you go to Hugging Face or the Future Tools, There are tools you can say, hey, look for music generators. And it will give you a list of music generator sites. And you can go to these music generator sites and have it generate the best damn dubstep you ever heard. You know, or, 1948 swing. Or you can say, hey, I want, images or a little video. Go to Hugging Face and Future Tools and search for the things you like. You want one that writes poetry? There are tools that will write those poetries for you. And you can say, and you should, go back and look at whatever it gives you and edit it. If you're using it for writing documents that you're going to send to somebody, read it over. Gmail now has AI embedded into it, and you can tell Gmail that, hey, respond to this twit nicely in good business thing and tell him this. Tell him to go stuff it and whatever. But it will rewrite it nicely and so forth, and it'll give it to you. Ask it and read that over and make sure it is appropriate to what you want. And then it'll send it back. There are tools out there that if you're working at a company, it will answer all the customer support messages that come through and respond back to them in the way that your customer support people have been trained to do, because you trained it to do that. And you can ask it to add in and escalate to real-time discussion, and it will do that if you have such a thing. Yeah.
And always read it before you send.
Yes, always read before you send. It gets really weird. All right, we're at 7:30, but go ahead. Yes.
Can anyone make a GPT if you made those ones?
Anyone can make a GPT, and then you can drop it up on the marketplace. And generally they're free. There are lots of them that are out there that cost money. Like the Creator Pro ones, when I signed up on Creator Pro, I have that whole list of GPTs that he gave, like in executive coaching sessions and so forth. Or writing a marketing plan. That's pre-trained.
One for my business that starts to know my business enough to prompt me to take actions I need to be thinking of?
Yes. You can either work with one of the existing ones, which is probably a little bit easier. Like Creator Pro has several that you can say, okay, I want a GPT that will help me do this. Can you help me with it? And it will. There are ones that they have that are process ones, and then it will.
Not like I don't want to have to always ask it a question. Like I want it to come to me. What to do.
If it would watch you and recognize that you're doing something wrong?
Like if it knows my sales, it'll be like, oh, your sales are down, you should do this.
There are tools that will do the data monitoring and so forth if you give it access to your books, and you can see that, and there are tools that people are building. This is a huge market out there for people to build special ones. Pardon?
Yeah. Teach this. How to use it in business.
That's a deeper subject that.
That'd be awesome.
OpenAI has, in their OpenAI platform, they have a huge bit about prompt generating. And they have a bunch about the best practices for your prompts and creating a GPT. There's a whole lot of training out there that you can go and ask it to do. If you just type in to chat, find me some that train me to create GPTs. Dum 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 dum. I can't spell it this time of night. But there it comes up with a whole bunch of GPTs. And all I did is all you need to do is say, type that in, and here's one: how to build your own custom GPTs. And custom GPTs, a beginner's guide. There are paid courses, but there's a ton of these free videos out there. Start with the free videos. A lot of them will give you the, the quickie one. A quick hint on watching videos like this: set the speed to 1.5, 1.5 or better. A lot of people talk slowly and work their way through things. It's a lot easier if they speed things up. So if you run it at 1.5, you might be able to get up to 2x sometimes for some people who talk real slow. The other thing I will recommend, if you're watching any video like this that's trying to walk you through tools, watch the video all the way through first. Maybe take some quick notes, but pay attention to the whole video. Watch it all the way through. If you really liked what it was saying and you want to go back and learn how to do what it was saying, watch it again and then click pause and go along. There are many videos that I've watched on how to use some particular tool, and they will spend 5 to 15 minutes walking you down a path of how to do this and this and this, and then they'll say, but there's this real neat hack that I can do everything I talked to you about in the last 15 minutes. If you just do these 2 things, you can do it in 2 minutes. So if you watch the video all the way through, you'll find that and you'll say, oh, that's what. Or you watch these people that are doing a video live, and they'll be going along and they'll make an error. And they say, oh, wait a minute, I got to go back and do this. So if you were sitting there trying to type along and follow along with them, you've made the same error. And they may say, oh, we got to start over. That's the channels I don't follow. All right, we're after 7:30. We're past the time.
What should the future of education be in the time of AI?
Well, I'd ask Chat that one.